everyone! Welcome back to Story Hive. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let's jump into today's story. My ex demanded child support for a kid that is not mine. My mother and sister are on her side. Some years ago, I dated a girl. The relationship was bad because she was very controlling and abusive. It ended badly, and we broke up. I kept going on with my life. A couple of months after getting my job, my ex contacted me and asked if we could talk. I believed she might want to reconnect or something. Instead, she showed up with a 5-year-old child, claiming he was my son and demanding child support. I didn't believe her, but the child's age matched the time since we cut contact. I got advice from a lawyer friend to try to resolve this out of court. I offered to take responsibility, pay all the costs, and be an active part of the kid's life only after doing a paternity test. Everyone was okay with this except for my ex. She acted offended and demanded that I just give her the money she deserved. She used all the excuses she could, even contacting my family to tell them I was trying to avoid taking responsibility for her child. When she ran out of excuses and the paternity test was finally done, she was so mad about the result and cried about the money, saying it was unfair and that she deserved it. But she didn't accomplish anything. Moving on to last week, there was a little party at my parents' house. My brother, a friend, and I were talking when my brother started to joke about the situation with my ex. My friend and I started to joke about it too. Some of our comments were a little dark and bad, but we were far away from the rest of the house where nobody else could hear us. At least, that was what we thought. We were laughing like maniacs when my sister appeared very angry and pushed me against the wall. She had spied on us and heard our conversation and was really mad. She started to yell at us about how horrible we were for mocking a poor woman. A few hours later, after the party ended, she asked me to go to the kitchen with our parents and told me how awful I was for the previous situation. Apparently, my ex had been in contact with her, and she believed her version. That was her way of having an intervention. My brother and I were like, "Are you serious?" When she started to say how I forced my ex into being a single mother and that I had a moral obligation to help her, my dad only said that we might have been cruel by making jokes about her, but that I wasn't responsible for that kid. My mom then surprised all of us when she said, "Even if the kid is not yours, you are making more than enough money to support the child. You should have helped her." Since then, I've been receiving numerous texts. My dad and brother are on my side, saying I'm not responsible for her, but my sister is telling me how horrible I am for ruining their lives. My mom only said, "It's your decision," and I respect it. I'm just very disappointed that you ended up being so selfish. I'm aware that she doesn't deserve my money, and I'm not planning on giving her any, but the constant harassment from my sister trying to guilt me is just exhausting. Update 1. After my last post, I read all the comments and decided to show them to my mother. We had to talk about the situation again. She started on my ex's side, but after reading the post and all the comments and opinions, she realized she was wrong. I think the thing that hurt her the most was all the doubts about whether she had cheated on my dad and maybe I wasn't his son. If that was the reason she was on her side, we had a very long conversation. She told me that she believed my ex because she was always so nice and kind to her. She decided not to believe me when I told her all the things my ex did to me during the relationship, because a good girl like her could never do something like that, so I must be lying. After that, she apologized to me, and we are good now. On the other hand, my sister was a completely different story. At first, she decided she wouldn't talk to me until I took responsibility. But after some days, I spoke to her. She is totally on my ex's side. Even after showing her everything, she said that none of that mattered because a woman's word goes first. And that's all the proof anyone could need. Also, she said, Even if you are not the biological father, you have a responsibility to her, so you must be man enough to take charge of them and start acting like a real man. She is a lost cause. Regarding my ex, I did some research and found out that shortly after we broke up, I'm not sure. They broke up a few weeks later, and she had multiple dates until she found out she was pregnant. I also found out that she had been trying to find a father for her kid for the last 2 years, and I was next on the list. It looks like she is desperate now because she was never that aggressive with anyone else before. Update 2. Some days ago, my ex and my sister came to my workplace. They made a big sign with my face that said I abandoned my child and that I was an irresponsible father. They started drama, spouting lies to tarnish my reputation. Their intention was to shame me and use social pressure to force me to take charge. Those were literally their words. To not make the story too long, they were escorted out of the place. I had problems even after showing my proof and legal documents that proved they were lying. I was warned that this better never happen again or I'd be fired. After that, I contacted my friend the lawyer, and we are now drafting a very long and detailed paper against my ex and sister. They went too far, and now I'm going against them with everything. Maybe that will scare them enough to leave me alone. First of all, I'm not allowed to talk much about the lawsuit. The most I can share with you is that my ex was extremely freaked out when she found out about it. She is now begging to drop it, offering to take back everything she said and never bother or even contact me again. She even tried to guilt me, saying that I would be ruining her and her son's life. But honestly, I don't care. I got tired of being the good guy a long time ago. She messed with me and now I'm fighting back. As for my sister, the lawsuit at first only made her worse. Since her attempt to shame me at my job didn't work, she moved it to social media, spreading lies about me abandoning my child, not taking responsibility, and exposing my legal actions as acts of censorship and misogyny. In the end, it will be worse for her, not only because I can dismiss her defamation easily, but also because there is now more evidence in our favor. Anyways, this is going to be a long road and we are just beginning. Recently, we had a posada at my parents' home. Every year, we use this as an excuse to have a big family party before Christmas. I had my doubts because I didn't want to be near my sister, but after some relatives assured me that she wouldn't be there, I decided to go. Big mistake. She was there. Mom decided that despite everything that happened, I was taking this too far, so she wanted all of us to meet to solve this problem as a family. I tried to get out of there the moment I realized what she intended, but some relatives tried to stop me while my mom cried that I needed to stop. I realized that despite everything, even knowing I was telling the truth, she was still on my sister's side. I left telling her that I'm not attending any family event if she is there and not to ever think of trying this again. At this point, almost all my family knows what she did. Some of them think my sister is crazy. A couple of days ago, Mom invited me to spend Christmas with them. I didn't want to go after what she did, but I decided to give her a chance after she swore it wouldn't happen again. Not only did she plan to do it again, but my brother also warned me that this time she intended to lock me in until I forgave my sister and stopped the nonsense. I called my mom and told her I knew and that I was done with her and my sister. I warned her not to talk to me until she realizes that she is supporting the wrong person and also to apologize. I don't need to say how many times she tried to call me in the following hours and all the drama she made when I didn't show up for Christmas. But again, I'm tired of being the good guy. So that's it for the moment. I hope all of you had a nice Christmas, and I wish you a happy and drama-free New Year. Update 3. After everything that happened, my ex's attempt to tarnish my reputation at my workplace had backfired spectacularly. The legal action we took was effective, and she seemed to realize that pushing me further would only exacerbate her troubles. She begged me to drop the lawsuit, offering to retract everything she had said and promising never to contact me again. Her pleas were filled with guilt trips about ruining her and her son's lives, but I remained unmoved. I had long since grown weary of playing the nice guy and was determined to fight back. As for my sister, the situation became increasingly strained. Her attempts to shame me on social media only made things worse. She spread lies about me abandoning a child and not taking responsibility, framing my legal actions as acts of censorship and misogyny. Her actions were damaging, but they also provided more evidence that worked in our favor. The more she escalated her behavior, the clearer it became that her attempts to manipulate the situation were failing. The holidays were particularly tough. Despite my reservations, I agreed to attend the posada at my parents' house, hoping for a peaceful family gathering. Unfortunately, my sister showed up. My mother had insisted on this family meeting to resolve the conflict, but it became evident that her loyalty was still with my sister. The conversation quickly turned into a painful intervention, with my mother urging me to forgive and reconcile, despite my clear stance on the matter. Realizing that my mother was still on my sister's side, I decided to leave the gathering. I told her that I would not attend any future family events if my sister was present, and made it clear that I did not want to be subjected to any more forced interventions. The reaction from my family was mixed. Some agreed with me, while others thought I was overreacting. The next twist came when my mom invited me to spend Christmas with them. I was hesitant, given the recent events, but decided to give it a chance after she promised that the situation would not repeat itself. However, it soon became apparent that my mom had not fully abandoned her plan. My brother warned me that this time my mom intended to force me into reconciliation by keeping me at the house until I forgave my sister and stopped the nonsense. I called my mom and made it clear that I was done with the situation and that I needed space. I told her not to contact me until she could acknowledge that she was supporting the wrong person and offer a genuine apology. In the end, the holidays were marked by frustration and disappointment. My mom's repeated attempts to call and the drama over Christmas only reinforced my decision. I was exhausted from the ongoing conflict and manipulations. For now, I'm focused on dealing with the legal issues and finding some peace away from the drama. As I look ahead, I hope to leave behind the turmoil and enjoy a quieter, more stable life in the coming year. Update 4. The dust from the turmoil has finally begun to settle, though not without leaving its mark. After the chaotic holiday season, I decided to take a step back and reassess the situation. The legal battle against my ex and my sister had reached a significant point. My ex, now fully aware of the gravity of the situation, had stopped her public harassment and stopped reaching out. It was clear she had realized that continuing her aggressive behavior would only worsen her situation. Her pleas and attempts to negotiate were now just a distant memory. My sister's social media crusade had not gone as she had hoped. Her attempts to frame me as an irresponsible father and to paint my legal actions as acts of censorship were met with backlash. The community that once supported her began to question her motives and credibility. As her lies unraveled, the evidence against her mounted, and her influence began to wane. It was a slow but sure process, and it felt like a small victory in the ongoing battle. Family dynamics remained strained. Despite my mother's earlier attempts to mediate, she had come to understand the complexity of the situation better, though not fully. She seemed to have realized that her initial support. We managed to have a few conversations that were less confrontational, but the trust was still fragile. My mother's attempts at reconciliation were earnest, but it would take time to rebuild what had been fractured. The holidays passed with less drama than expected. I chose to spend Christmas away from the family gatherings that had previously caused so much stress. Instead, I focused on finding peace and stability in my own life. I kept busy with work and personal projects, which provided a welcome distraction from the ongoing family issues. My sister, on the other hand, continued her campaign of bitterness. Despite the mounting evidence against her, she refused to back down. Her fixation on the situation only isolated her further from the family. Some relatives sided with me, recognizing the unfairness of her actions, while others remained conflicted, unsure of where to place their allegiance. As for the future, I'm cautiously optimistic. The legal battles are not entirely behind me, but the situation is under control for now. I'm focusing on moving forward and ensuring that I protect my own well-being. I've distanced myself from the family drama and am working on reestablishing a sense of normalcy in my life. It's a long road ahead, but I'm determined to navigate it with as much peace and dignity as possible. Thanks for tuning in to today's Reddit story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more amazing stories. See you next time.